Today we are reading Decree of the Seven Sages, a page from a book used in the Grove of Epiphany's general education courses. It has been torturing generations of scholars for many years as an important test point that requires memorization of the entire text. This collectible can be found starting from the Serene Court of Learning Space Anchor or the Woven Trail Space Anchor in Murmuring Woods, Grove of Epiphany. It is found next to the White Dryad by the stairs leading to the Courtyard of Storgi. Grove of Epiphany Historical Document Volume 3, recorded by Noose Forest scholar Herodoton, Light Calendar Year 4919. Since the establishment of the Grove, scholars have maintained a level of restraint when it came to debates and disagreements. After centuries of maintaining this balance, a debate erupted that became a matter of our survival or extinction. The cause of this debate was the balance between reason and faith. A portion of the scholars believe that the Grove should act purely in pursuit of knowledge. Others argue that scholars must not deviate from their reverence of Circes. The debate intensified by the day, as scholars from each school eventually split into 7 independent groups, each operating independently in separate areas of the Grove. The Lotophagists moved from the Courtyard of Storgi to a remote forest. The Caprist scholars led their beasts into seclusion, and the noticed mathematicians even claimed that they would leave the Grove to find a pure land that had not been tainted by idiocy. Seeing this paradise of intellect about to be divided, each school had no choice but to meet and discuss a countermeasure. After 3 months of constant negotiation, the 7 schools finally agreed to hold a conference in the Star Chase Atrium. The conference continued for a full 7 days. According to the records from the time, the first day of discussion almost spiraled out of control. The Venerationists persisted in their belief that all research should be completed in reverence of the Titans at its core. The Helcolitheists, on the other hand, disputed this, saying that excessive reverence would impede the search for truth. The Erythrocheramists went on to criticize the other schools for stifling the freedom of artistic expression in the name of reason. The dispute persisted until the 4th day, when a rare lightning storm hit the Grove by surprise, and the scholars were forced to move to the Library of Philia to rest and seek refuge from the rain. It was during this tea break that the scholars began to reflect on one question: why would Circes choose to come to Earth in the form of a tree? The Caprists pointed out that trees need to be rooted to the ground as well as growing upwards toward the sky. They must follow the rules of growth whilst adjusting to the changes in their environment. The noticed mathematicians added that the form of a tree itself contains a most strict mathematical structure. The Lotophagists, on the other hand, reminded everyone that the growth of a tree is dependent on sunlight, rainfall, nutrients from the soil, much like knowledge requires various sustenance to grow. By the 6th day, the various schools finally reached an accord regarding their management structure. The establishment of the 7 Sages system would allow each school to maintain their independence while simultaneously keeping each other in balance. However, debate regarding the candidate for head sage led to an unprecedented stalemate. Each school insisted that their beliefs were closest to the ideals of Circes. The Noose Forests placed importance on seeking out the true nature of life itself. The Lotophagists maintained the importance of cultivation of body and mind. The Caprists advocated returning to nature. The Notists held watertight logic in the highest esteem. The Venerationists emphasized divine rituals. The Helcolithists sought perfect balance, and the Erythrocheramists stood in defense of artistic freedom. This debate endured an entire day and night. People proposed all sorts of solutions: a rotation system, a parliamentary system, and someone even proposed a lottery system. However, there was no one solution that could satisfy everyone. Just when the stalemate reached its pinnacle, a single leaf fell from the sacred tree and happened to land in the center of the conference table. This sight reminded the scholars of an ancient proverb. Circes once said that the roots of the tree of reason are just as important as its branches. If one end is neglected, the entire tree will wither. After a long period of silence, someone proposed an idea. As no one can represent reason itself, why do we not leave the seat of head sage permanently empty as tribute to Circes? This proposal spread throughout the venue and gradually gained favor. Not only would this gesture show reverence to the Titans, it also serves as a reminder to all scholars no one should try to overstep the authority of reason themselves. By the 6th day, the various schools finally reached an accord regarding their management structure. They established the 7 Sages system to achieve balance in the grove. The 7 Sages were not merely leaders, they were also a carefully constructed management system. At this point, the 7 Sages each took charge of the 7 major roles within the grove. The Newsporism Sage was responsible for reviewing experiments and research to ensure that investigations would not endanger the grove itself. The Lithophagism Sage managed medicines and meals to maintain the physical and mental health of the various scholars. The Caprism Sage would oversee the forests and the beasts to balance the boundaries between nature and humankind. The Nodism Sage took responsibility for books and documentation to ensure the preservation and passage of knowledge. The Venerationism Sage maintained important ceremonies to maintain the connection between the grove and the Titans. The Helcolithism Sage supervised physical training to cultivate the practice of unifying the mind and body. The Erythrokaramism Sage took charge of artistic education to nourish the growth of the soul and the senses. Following this, they established a strict system of rules. Rule 1. Each sage can only serve for 7 years, and their role cannot be held repeatedly by a scholar of the same school. Rule 2. An important decision requires the agreement of at least 5 sages. Rule 3. If any experiment or research involves 3 or more different schools, it must undergo joint review by the relevant sages. Rule 4. Each sage has the right to veto dangerous behaviors within their school. Rule 5. If a sage neglects their duties, the other 6 can unite to impeach them. Finally, they established a succession system to ensure that the system can be passed down properly. Rule 1. Each sage must raise 3 candidates for their succession. Rule 2. The successor must obtain the approval of at least 4 other sages. Rule 3. Successors of seats in other schools must learn from each other's areas of expertise. Rule 4. The successors must live together for 1 year inside the library of Philia to nurture a mutual understanding. As for the seat of head sage, it will forever be reserved for the sacred tree and reason themselves. At the end of the protocol agreement, the 7 schools wrote a concluding remark. We pursue knowledge, we do not overstep divinity. We respect faith, we do not deviate from reason. Just as the roots of the sacred tree intertwine, intellect and reverence too must complement one another. It is clear from the subsequent influence it has had that the Protocol of the 7 Sages not only ensured the free development of academic research, but also maintained checks and balances between the various schools. Even more importantly, it sets an example for future generations. True intellect is derived from the fusion of diverse influences, not from singular supremacy. It was the equilibrium ensured by this protocol that allowed the Grove of Epiphany to maintain its vitality in the years to come. Attachment. List of the current 7 sages in the Grove. Lithophagism, Medea. Caprism. Nodism, Apuleius. Venerationism, Helcolithism. Erythrokaramism, Socopi. Newsporism, Anaxagoras.